What's up, everybody? A big free agent was just offered a new contract to sign with AEW, as well as brand new WWE World Tag Team Champions on Raw. So all this and more on this episode of the news. So let's just get into it. Starting with the big name that was offered a free agent contract. That name is none other than Matt Cardona. And this is according to Wrestling Observer Radio. Dave Meltzer had this to say: I know Matt Cardona was offered an AEW contract. I don't know if he signed or anything. And this would be a big, great signing for AEW if he finally signs. I know he was with the company a couple times. He had a couple of appearances, one of them being against Edge. He also teamed up with Cody Rhodes in the early days of AEW. It was rumored that he was supposed to sign back then, never did, but was with the company for a couple events. If he did sign with AEW, this would probably be the next big step for him. I know he went out there and mentioned that he was actually surprised that WWE and AEW haven't offered him a contract up to this point. I want to say he said that maybe a couple months ago. It's time for him to return to the big screen, to return to professional wrestling on TV. He's the king of the indies, the indie taker and all that stuff. But I mean, there's nothing like being signed to a major company that's on TV multiple times a week. He is the greatest name in indie wrestling right now, if you ask me. So signing him to AEW just elevates that, because he is a star. You could see him being an AEW world champion. He is a star. He has good matches. He has good character. That is one of the star factors that is lacking in AEW. I mean, he's bigger than a lot of guys in AEW. So we'll see where that goes with Matt Cardona. Hopefully he does resign, but as of right now, nothing is 100% for certain. On Monday Night Raw, we also got to see a vignette of a 0 being X'd out, being crossed out. And let me just tell you, there is nobody else that can possibly be for if it's not Penta Le Cero Miedo. Expect for him to return as early as January 6th, maybe a little bit before then. But I mean, what do you guys feel? Because he's been on quite a journey in AEW. He was most recently at a AAA taping saying goodbye to the promotion. So I'm excited that he's probably going to be back on TV and WB TV, and apparently it's going to be on Raw on Netflix. So unless they start showing vignettes on SmackDown, expect him to be on Netflix. Jesus, man, just imagine Penta Le Cero Miedo going one-on-one against Gunther. Gunther has said that Penta gives the hardest chops he's ever received. So that would be a great match. They've had good matches in the past. I mean, Rey Mysterio versus Penta. There's a lot of things that can happen. Shit, Penta and Dragon Lee. A lot of potential for Penta Le Cero Miedo in WWE as a single star, as well as a tag team star in the future when his brother gets there as well. And speaking of the WWE Tag Team Championships, we got a title change. The War Raiders ended up defeating Judgment Day in a hard-hitting match. It always impresses me how big War Raiders are. And they can fly, man. They can move. They're athletic. They're agile. They put on good matches. So we finally end the Judgment Day's reign over the tag team division. I'm excited because this can be the rebirth of the tag team division in WWE. You know, you get to see the heel New Day, the Judgment Days there, Alpha Academy, the Creed Brothers of American Made. The potential is there to have a good tag team division. They just need to be defended a little bit more, given some more screen time, build some credible feuds, and then that tag division is up and booming again. So hopefully we get to see the tag team titles being defended a lot more often on Monday Night Raw and amongst pay-per-views and incredible storylines, because we deserve that as fans. If you're going to go back to 3 hours, give us 3 hours of solid TV. That includes tag team wrestling. We've also received a somewhat update on Kamille's status within AEW, and this is based on rumors from Wrestling Observer Radio. Brian Alvarez had this to say about the situation. He said, "I don't know if we're going to see her again. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like she was mentioned once after the angle that happened, and then never again." And let me tell you this, it seemed like that whole angle was not well received. It seemed like Kamille also didn't want to be involved in that angle. So you could see kind of like a little hesitation, the acting, a little hesitation and everything of specifically that aspect, because she was being built as somebody that her character just can't be. She went from this powerhouse to being a backup to Mercedes Moné, and it just never really connected with the fans. It didn't connect with me. Let me know if it connected with you. But I feel for the vast majority of fans, it just didn't hit. It didn't connect. This is why we're seeing this reboot. I still think she's going to come back to AEW and eventually take on Mercedes Moné. But as of right now, I feel like this might be some misdirection over, she hasn't been mentioned. Maybe they're going to repackage her. Maybe they're going to rebuild her up somehow. We'll see over the next couple of weeks, because she's one of the most solid women in AEW that can wrestle. She has that star power as well. We saw those in the early days of NWA, that she can be the face of a women's division. She's got to be portrayed correctly, which she was not in this iteration of her character. Eventually, you do see that Kamille is going to take on Mercedes Moné. It's a matter of, in my opinion, of when, not if it's going to happen. And lastly, there's some drama in the TNA locker room, and it has nothing to do with actual drama, but it has a lot to do with just talent flat out leaving the company. And this is according to Dave Meltzer as well, Wrestling Observer Radio. There may be more TNA departures coming. One of the things that happened is a lot of the talent were asked to take pay cuts. I don't know how many. That was among the reasons Rhino left. His last match was on Saturday, I believe. And yeah, a lot of names are starting to, you know, leave the company. We had Kushida. Before Kushida, we heard Rhino, Trent Seven, Jade Chung. I mean, Speedball, Mike Bailey is headed to AEW in January, apparently. Josh Alexander is also not going to be renewing his contract with TNA. Jordan Grace is probably on her way out to WWE. I'd even give it a 99.99999% chance that Joe Hendry is also headed to WWE. So what does this mean to TNA? I mean, are they being asked to take pay cuts? But TNA right now, seems like they're going through a growth period. You know, they just sold out for the latest pay-per-view. Nick Nemeth versus AJ Francis had a great match. AJ Francis, the biggest heel, the best heel in the business right now, the best villain. He's out there having good matches. Or let me know, is this just TNA kind of going through the waves of talent and now focusing on different talent? I mean, that could also be it, because right now they're on a run with the talent they have. Granted, Speedball Mike Bailey is a great talent, so is Josh Alexander, but it seemed kind of like they were kind of getting away from those characters. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. But we also mentioned Penta earlier on in the video. But if you want a full rundown of the Lucha Brothers situation, we made a video. Click right here. It'll tell you everything you need to know.